The government's promise of another reform-linked mega bailout for power distribution companies comes even though there is little evidence that such largesse prompts states to mend their ways and restructure the sector. The debt restructuring plan being prepared by the union government for power distribution companies in 7 states will involve a total of Rs 1.2 lakh crore in short-term liabilities.
In 2008, the centre had launched RAP-DRP scheme to help states finance projects and reduce theft and other commercial losses that undermine the viability of the sector. The plan was to provide loans of Rs 52,000 crore with the promise of converting them into grants as and when projects were completed. 4 years later, just Rs 8,500 crore of RAP-DRP funds have been disbursed as states have failed to ensure that the electricity boards and DISCOMs operate on a commercial basis with freedom to revise tariffs when needed.
The objective of the RAP-DRP was to provide the grant and the assistance to those state DISCOMs which are performing well and they are reducing the AT&C losses well below the targeted level. Now, lately it has been found that only 5 to 7 states have shown their performance in terms of reduction in the AT&C loss and recovery of the cost. The other states have not been able to do that. Now, the government is making a plea that the state governments have failed in terms of providing their budgetary support or their subsidy to those state DISCOMs which have been heavily subsidized.
The accumulated losses of DISCOMs rose up to 2 lakh crore last year. Central government is preparing the debt structure plan for the DISCOMs. The financial restructuring plan of each DISCOM must show how the revenue stream would move over the next 3 to 5 years. And this FRP would have to also get cleared by the respective electricity regulatory authorities. The plan is being put in place by the Finance Ministry in consultation with the Power Ministry. The states covered are going to be Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Madhya Pradesh.
Out of 1,20,000 crores, 60,000 crores will be issued in terms of bonds. These bonds will be initially issued by the distribution companies, but the liability would be picked up by the state government in due course of time in a predetermined time frame. Remaining 50%, that is 60,000 crores, there will be moratorium by the banks for a period of 3 years on the principal amount, but the interest will have to be paid by the distribution companies immediately. For carrying out all these activities, the state regulatory commissions need to approve the plan for recovery of the overhang as well as the current dues.
To ensure the states doing all these are not overly burdened, a transition finance mechanism is proposed. A matching grant would be given to states achieving a reduction in transmission and distribution losses over and above the targeted level in 3 years. Further, states in which the DISCOM's FRP gets implemented fully would have a quarter of the bond's principal amount reimbursed by the central government.
The power business in our country should be treated like the business of any commercial commodities or business of anything that we take up in our country in terms of simple market demand and market supply analysis. And the market efficiency of the power business will depend upon how much power are we generating at what cost, how much power are we supplying to the millions of our country at what cost, and how much the revenue that the power utilities are generating over the capital being invested by them. In this context, therefore, loans and assistance should be considered and should be welcome once it is productively utilized to finance the projects which will generate more adequate return to the state power utilities.
The government is considering a fresh debt recast package for power DISCOMs whose combined debt has reached an unmanageable figure of Rs 2 lakh crore. Analysts says the roots of the crisis and the failure of state government to undertake necessary reforms so that power distribution becomes a viable business. Central assistance should be linked to specific action by states so that states that fail to meet targets can be deprived of benefits. But that is not the case with RAP-DRP, which has certain implementation gaps. It's time for a quick break, but there is a lot more on the other side. Stay tuned.